Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of From Season 2, Episode 6. This episode is en français, and because I do not speak French well enough, I'm not going to try to say it. I'm just going to say this show is incredible, berserk. Like, we are so happy to have gotten on the bus and be taken into this community. We just came a little bit later than those other people at the start of season 2. We are here, hopefully not in as dark and twisted and terrible of a way, but we're here.
Yeah, we're here. And thank you to everyone who recommended this show to us. We had been reviewing Yellow Jackets and we got lots of recommendations to jump into From, which is a show that neither of us had seen yet. We had heard little bits about it,
Yeah.
but we hadn't actually seen it yet. We took your recommendations and we jumped into it just like this last week and we just blew through it. It was so good. I mean, it's from executive producers of Lost. I mean, Harold is starring in it.
Yeah.
He's not the same as Michael on Lost, but
Yeah.
he's this completely different character and he's so good. I mean, everything about this show is excellent. So thank you so much to everybody who recommended it.
Yeah, and in case you are out there being like, where is this show? How can I
Mhm.
check it out? The first seasons are on Prime Video and Apple TV Plus. So if you want to watch season 1, you can go over and do that. Both seasons are on MGM Plus. That is its primary home. We cannot recommend you check this show out enough. I think a lot of you out there who have enjoyed a lot of what we've been talking about,
Yeah.
with Yellow Jackets or Silo, like you're going to like this. And we have emerged from the box to talk all about what happened in this particular episode, which was really just absolutely insane. And I think one of the more action-packed ones that they've done.
Yeah, and they finally circled around to a question that I've had since the very beginning of all of this is these monsters that live in the woods, monsters, aliens, experiments, the night walkers, whatever you want to call them. We don't exactly know what they are. But one of my biggest questions has been why hasn't anyone tried to actually capture one or kill one, be able to sort of call them back? Because we see the same ones over and over again. It feels like it's not just infinite. And I know that they don't know where they are, what's going on, but I'm really surprised that there hasn't been anyone that's really been like, we need to figure out what these are, maybe where they are, how we can actually stop them and kill them or get them, to be less. There's a lot of us.
Listen, we're gonna be the ones to do this. We're gonna take
It's
this on.
Boyd.
We're gonna be Boyd. We're gonna try our best Boyd impression. But as we dive into all of this and sort of discuss and theorize, if you guys do want to check out some more exclusive video coverage on From, check out our Patreon. We got a link for you right down in the description below. That video is going to be coming up during this week. We do not want you to miss that. And thank you so much to everyone who has supported us over there already and is checking out all of our exclusive content.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so
Yes.
yes, this was the big moment in this episode where we saw, Boyd dealing with this blood worm thing that's been going on that he got transferred over from this other guy that was basically eating him from the inside out and killing this guy. And now it's doing the same thing to Boyd and he doesn't really know what to do with it. And he ends up in this situation that we will get into more with Ellis where, Ellis needs his blood. And because he's got whatever's going on inside of him, he's like, nah, that's not happening. I'm not giving this to him. Kenny steps up and is like, give it to me. And Boyd's like, nah, I'm not doing that either. Like, this is horrible. I'm not giving it to Ellis. I'm not giving it to you. I'm not giving it to anybody. He makes a decision to go outside and call in these night walkers to be like, okay, I'm going to give it to one of you. And he does. And they actually fall down seemingly dead. The last scene we've got is Kenny and Boyd like looking out the window being like, are they dead? Like, did this work? Like, and kind of like, we'll see in the morning. So now I'm just like, oh my, I can't wait to see the next episode because I really want to know, like, if this works, is there then a way to pull whatever this blood, disease, worms, whatever out of this night walker and be able to use it in another way to start like culling back all of them?
it's a really, really cool idea. And I think it really brings to mind one of the most important things in all of science fiction, and that is anything can be killed. If you can take out a White Walker, you can take out a Night Walker. And I think it is really the question of one, who's got the guts in order to do this. And I'm not talking,
Boyd.
yeah, just right now it's just
It has to
Boyd.
be a one-man killing machine out there just handing this off to everybody.
Yeah, because then it's sort of like, I would be one of these other people in this community. Maybe I'm just like chilling out at the house. Because I'm not going out at night. Like, let's make this clear. I'm a coward. Like, this seems like a very bold and dangerous operation, presuming that this works. And, Boyd was actually able to take this Nightwalker out. And I'm going to assume that that is the case. That thing looked deader than whatever the dead it previously was. You're then in a situation where, number one, you have to still have some element of it within you. So you got to deal with that problem. Then you got to be outside at night, which you're running the risk then that like these other things are going to take you out. And then you just so happen to have to, I can't even form the sentence. You got to be able to actually make the move and then get back inside in time.
Yeah, and hope that no one turns on you in that second. I mean, Boyd was being surrounded by them at any second. Any one of them could have been like, you're taking too long. And I think the thing about it that we know about them is that they like to play with their food. They like to take their time. They like to draw it out. That is one thing that we do know about them and that they know about them as well. And that they would be able to use to their advantage. If they're going to take their time with you, then you can get in quick and you might be able to do it. But the big question mark is if this Nightwalker is dead and it worked,
yeah,
then does the worms, the blood disease, whatever it is, does that die off with them because now there's no living host anymore? I mean, it's a question, right?
I am not an expert on some of these things. I have not lived in The
No.
Walking Dead. I'm sorry to disappoint everybody, but I'll do my armchair, I guess, blood disease expert here.
All right, here we
I
go.
feel like, it's got to live on at least for like a tiny period of time. So if you just like run out there and infect yourself really quickly, like maybe it could still work. It's like, that is one major problem of this, obviously, is what you've just laid out. The other problem that I'm sort of actively thinking about is that there's some pretty bad symptoms to this worm infection, if you will, including the illusions that Boyd is having, which I thought
The horrifying ballerina sequences. Oh my goodness.
that was so great. You're like contrasting
Oh, it was
something
good.
that is like so elegant with something that is so just like horrific and scary. And I think that's sort of the risk that you're running into with all of this is that, let's say Boyd infects himself again and he's just like, charge, and he charges out there. Is he going to know if it's actually real? If it's something that's sort of being created in his head? I mean, this is not the first time that we have had From really tackle this sort of thing, but the stakes are higher now.
Yeah, it would have to be something that he puts into his body like right before nightfall and then just go out there and start, dealing with them the best that he can, which seemingly would be a long process. It would kind of probably be one each night unless, because they're going to circle him.
Is this where I get into my giant ultimate tinfoil hat idea for what this show is really all about?
Oh, let's see. What is it all about? Because Jim has some ideas too. He said in this episode, he thinks that they are an experiment and that people are watching them.
That's possible, Jim, but it's not quite what you think.
Oh,
it's not quite what you think.
Jim getting called out.
Listen, Jim, you can probably beat me up, but I'm protected. You're stuck in this community. You can't get to me. So
Not yet.
Oh, no. Okay, so, Lost obviously played a lot with time travel, and I'm not going in a time travel angle here. However, I'm going more in a time frozen angle here. That the whole idea of these people are arriving in this community from somewhere, and they're trying to go from this one place to another. And I think in the middle, they're sort of frozen in this sort of stasis place where it is about the challenge to get you to the other side and the demons that you're sort of forced to confront along the way. And they manifest themselves in a lot of different ways. It's singular for each different person. A lot of it is tied to fear. A lot of it is tied to danger, insecurity. Everybody's fearing something, even if they don't want to publicly admit it. And I think, through Boyd and what Boyd does at the end of season 1 of really, going out there in the woods with Sarah, who has her own established history. It's like he does get something out of it. Not a great something at first, but he does get something out of it.
Yeah, he gets something that may have actually killed one of these night walkers. And that, to me, is really valuable if he's still able to get that out of him, or he actually did kill him. Because that's also been one of the things I've been kind of wondering about with the whole show. It's like, okay, they know that these night walkers come out at night. They know that
Yeah.
they live in the forest. Okay, cool. Well, the tree line is so close to town. I mean, we even saw in the first season, Victor's doing his steps. Oh, it's 12 steps to the forest. All the forest is getting closer and closer. It's just kind of like, okay, well, if you know that they live out there, you have like 30 people living in Colony House. Like, if everybody chops down a tree a day for the whole year, like, you're gonna be able to call that forest pretty far back, which gives you better security to be able to see them when they are coming out, because they're going to be more in an open field. Like, I feel like kind of the security measures around it, instead of just, okay, we found that we have these talisman, we hang them in the doorways and we're able to hide out at night. Cool. That's one step of protection. Nailing the windows shut. Another. Boarding up the windows. Another. Okay, they live in the forest. Let's call the forest back.
These people are very defensive as opposed to proactive. And, once again, I'm not in the situation, so I feel like if I was, I would understand more of where they're coming from with all of this. But it does seem to be a pretty glaring issue that they are sort of running into, especially in the instance of this current situation, if you will, this living arrangement. It doesn't seem to be going all that great. It doesn't necessarily mean that, like, okay, things could be going way worse if you're out in the forest, but at least you have a chance. If you're not doing all that, you get into a situation where eventually, Ellis is just getting like, and he has to find a way to get his life saved. I mean, this is not good.
Yeah, what a crazy scene. I mean, Ellis got stabbed and it's the middle of the night. I was like, oh my goodness, are they actually just gonna kill off Ellis? I mean, he's such a huge character on the show. I just didn't know how they were going to get him into town. And, seeing Elgin step up, he's new, from the bus, part of the community now, trying to find his place like everybody else from the bus, and, gets the car together, gets them in, everything turns out all right. Boyd's able to give him his blood, save him, everything. Christie's there. It all works out just fine. But wow, it was really crazy watching them driving through to get to town. It was wild.
This is one of the best sequences that this show has done
It
through
was
2
good.
seasons. Like, it was really, really exciting. And I will be honest, I thought Ellis was going to die. Like, I thought they were going to take this move right now, mostly because, like, one, they've already showed they have no problem offing characters in
Yep,
this world.
they do.
Two, we've already seen other things happen to people close to Boyd. So I was like, okay, we know they're more than capable of, like, making this guy go through it. And for some reason, Harold Perrineau characters are just doomed to have to deal with, like, ultimate suffering
Oh,
at
I
all
know. Oh
times.
my goodness.
I kind of thought we were being set up to an ending here where, okay, Boyd does figure this thing out about the Nightwalkers and it's great and it's a victory, but Ellis doesn't make it. And so it's like he's lost something along the way. He's had this big sacrifice. Thankfully, that doesn't seem to be happening. I think he's going to pull through.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if it was going to happen to him again, because we know that something similar did happen with Abby, where he was out in the woods and, Ellis was warning him, you need to come back. Like, Mama's not doing well. Like, you're not hearing me. And then he finds this thing that really helps the town tremendously, but, he ends up losing Abby.
Okay, one of my exhibit A's for my crazy off the wall theory that I'm sure like 20 people have already come up with somewhere else and I just haven't seen it, but is Marielle, this character who we find out it was going to treatment,
Yep.
suddenly, finds herself here instead. So she's gone from this point to this point. Now she's sort of in this middle limbo where she's having to confront what it is that she was doing and whether or not she can get past it. This is a very different test than the test that she was going to sort of receive. And, she seems to say that she's got this under control. I'm not that confident she does based on everything that we have seen on the show so far.
Yeah, it was really interesting that she ended up in this town, because, like, over on Lost, I hate to make the comparison, but I mean, it's made by, the same people.
Yeah.
So, it's going to happen. But I mean, over on Lost, you had a lot of people that had done bad things or felt guilty about things that they had done, either by accident or on purpose, that they felt like they needed to sort of atone for. And they all ended up on this island together. Over here in From, they've got this town where it's like, it's not like that. I mean, you have people like the bus drivers, like, I just paid off my degree and I was just running the bus like a couple extra times to go on vacation to celebrate, good job, I mean, Jade just sold his company for billions of dollars. He's like, it was my lifelong like work and I got there and I did it and I thought I was celebrating and now I'm here. And even with Boyd, I mean, oh, here's your boat. Oh, we're all celebrating. Now you're here. It seems like a lot of people that end up in this town are people who have had something good or some sort of celebration or something that was going on. I mean, even Donna was out hunting with her sister, having a fun time, Tilly on the bus. Yeah, I'm getting to the end of my life, but I was betting on all the ponies. I was, going around living my best end of life.
It's what makes this show, I think, so intentionally hard to figure out. And I clearly
Yes, like what is the purpose? That's why, when you've got Jim being like, you know what? It feels like every time we're kind of doing better here, they put some sort of stressors on us to make it harder and make it worse. Like, are we able to get past that? And then whenever we do start to get past it, or, we're trying the radio tower, digging the hole, or whatever it is we're doing to get further ahead, they're like, oh, time to crank up the stress. Let's see how they deal with worms in their blood.
It clearly amplifies the whole this is an experiment theory that is going on. And Jim, my guy, I understand what you're going through. I understand why you feel this way. It's just Jim, you do not have the experience watching television that we do. It's never the first guess, Jim. It's something more nefarious.
Well, this is the second guess because before Tabitha was like, are we all dead? Which is what I thought. And then, she was like, is this a thing? And, they're like, no.
Well, we do have the mystery voice, going back to the end of the first season. And, whether this is a person, whether this is some sort of like computer generated sort of thing. I think what's going on in the real world right now is making me very, very paranoid. I think everything is an AI now. So it's just like, I'm not ruling something really bizarre and crazy like that out either.
I really hope that we're not going to get to the end of this and it's like, we're all in a video game. Then I'm going to be like, are you kidding me, man? You guys did not stick that landing whatsoever.
No, I think it's something that's a little bit more metaphorical, a little bit more associated with this idea of struggle, with this idea of what you're willing to do to overcome it. But sort of like you laid out, it's just sad that I think a lot of the people in here are not really deserving of having to go through this sort of struggle at all.
Okay, then we also have this reveal that Fatima's asking for a pregnancy test. And I was just like, okay, well, if that's the case and that's a possibility that you can create life here, then the idea that they're all dead feels like it's actually stamped out. I know that we had it in, season 1 that, the pastor had said, oh yeah, no, that's not it. You're not the first person to ask this. That isn't the case. But I mean, if you're creating more life, it's very unlikely that everybody's dead.
Yeah. And quick little plea here. Don't make an evil baby. Don't. We've already seen enough other shows where the baby comes out and the baby is like, this is the key to everything, but it's secretly evil and it's going to take over the world.
Yeah, no, I don't need an evil baby. The thing that this show does really well is it does balance sort of the horrors of night and the joys during the day. I mean, Donna has said it throughout sort of the whole time since Boyd got to town, found the talisman and changed things around, that she's just like, look at us, everybody from all different walks of life, all living together, all finding ways to be working as a community, helping each other, and she's in such a tough spot right now because the storm has wiped out their crops and now they're in this food shortage, and especially with everyone who's shown up on the bus. I mean, People are getting panicked. Things are changing. I mean, even like the noticing of like, oh, the leaves are changing and falling. Well, that's never happened before.
It's
It's
in.
getting angry.
Oh no. It chooses. Okay,
It
when are they
chooses.
pulling out the cards? No. Okay. I think they're going to find some sort of solution to this hunger issue because I don't think they're going to go full on in the we need to devour that direction. But
No, I don't think they're going there.
I think the real question though is that how how can you turn around multiple things at the same time when you're dealing with these sort of just limitations, the daytime limitation, the number of people limitation, the fact that you guys are like at the point where you're each other limitation. It's a lot.
I think that this is going to force them to have to go into the forest more and further. Like, I mean, we saw when Boyd had first come to town, and that was one of the things he was doing. He was going into the forest. Hey, look, I got a goat, and that kind. Oh, and I saw chickens over there, kind of thing. Like, there are some resources clearly in that forest. It's just nobody wants to go in there. It's why it's kind of like, well, maybe if you cull it back enough, at least to give like a perimeter of the house, colony house of the town, everything, that then you can just go in further and see what's out there. Because a lot of people have probably gone as far as they can before the sun goes down and then they got to come back. Okay, well, if you
Mhm.
cull it out a little bit, then you can have a little more time, maybe.
Well, we are going to spend these next few weeks going deeper and deeper into this forest, and who knows what we're going to find. Maybe all the answers will be there, but probably not because I don't foresee this being the end of the show. But
Gosh, I hope not.
no, but go ahead, check out our Patreon. We have that link in the description. We will have a new From exclusive video there during the week. But
Hmm.
thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, patrons, for your
Thank
support.
you.
We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you here next time.